Hey, what's up, y'all? Billy from Perma Pastures Farm, and I'm out here back in Marshall, North Carolina, and I'm going to talk about the new project that we got kicking over here, and I am so excited about it. But I got help today. Well, as you can see, I'm here with my old sidekick, my son William. If you don't know, he's the permaculture consultant. You can find him at the Permaculture Consultant.
Yep.
And that's exactly what he does. So here we are, a new project that we're kicking off right out here in Marshall, North Carolina. Here we got the French Broad River over here, and it's pretty high right now, which seems a little bit odd for a whole bunch of reasons. And then we got a little tributary over here that kind of leads into it. And folks, this place right after that hurricane was absolutely devastated. Now, we've shown you the project that we've done. It was, in fact, we turned it around in 6 months. The project that we did, it's about a quarter of a mile that way, maybe not quite that far. But anyway, we turned that one around in about 6 months. We told everybody it took about a year, but it was about 6 months. And because of that project, everybody all up and down this neighborhood, man, I don't know how they got I know how they got my number. I just didn't expect it. I mean, it was, everybody is blowing me up right now. Hey, can you do what you did down there to us? Can you do it? And universally, the answer has it's had to be no for the most part. And I'm concentrating primarily on the senior citizens that live up and down here. I'm not doing any more able-bodied people.
Yeah.
And I got reasons for that, but I'm doing all the people that are seniors that don't necessarily have help, that don't have anybody else. So there's two of them over there that I'm gonna do, but this one over here, I wanted to focus on this one for a minute because it's a 1 acre plot, and unlike the last one we did, they've given me full reign to do whatever I want out here. So you see this giant area all the way to the river. It probably looks
about an acre in total.
Right, an acre in total. They told me I can do whatever I want. So, and folks, this is what you got to worry about, and you would know better than anybody when it comes to a consultation. People tell you what they want up front, and then it changes all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But over here, they basically told me, so folks, in your mind's eye, I want you to imagine 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4 rows full of fruit trees. And son, of course, we're not going to just put fruit trees out here. How are we going to situate that?
Full-blown guild. Because if you look in a forest, you don't just see trees by themselves. You see trees plus all their other companions. There's 7 layers to a forest, and those are all opportunities to grow food in an orchard or in a food forest.
And when I explained that to the folks out here, they were like, hold on, you mean I could get nut trees out here? Like hazelnuts is one thing they were very interested in. You mean to tell me I can get nut trees out here, fruit trees, berries, vines, ground cover full of strawberries possibly? When I told them that, they were absolutely blown away. And these folks are retired and they're absentee owners, which is even better for me because they won't be out here every single day meddling into the design that we came up with.
Right.
So that's what it's going to look like. And they want it to be, because they are absentee owners, they want it to be the prize, for the most part, of Western North Carolina as to what we can do with very, very messed up ground. And by the way, the soil test that Dr. Will did on here a little while ago proved that this place was still very much polluted.
Yeah.
But we know that with soil saviors and with our compost extract that we can turn this stuff around in record time, because we did it last year at a time of year where your microbes really aren't going to be really happy until it's about 60 degrees ambient temperature.
When they're frozen.
Yeah.
You did it when you were frozen.
We did it all through the winter. And then by March, I think March or April of this year, we were showing that we had basically had removed all the toxicity or eaten it all up. I got to be careful about how I say it because there were certain high-powered interests that don't want you folks to know about this.
Yeah.
They don't want you to know about soil saviors, and you've had some pretty good luck with it too out there, right?
Yeah, I just recently used soil savers on my own property for the first time, and guys, I don't know if you know how difficult it is to germinate carrots, but I had a 100% germination rate on carrots without using the board method or anything like that, which is the first for me. I've never had carrots do so well before. And then also I did it with cabbage and then beets as well, but those are typically easier to grow and easier to germinate. But the carrots, that's what shocked me. But yeah, I'm still in like the testing phase and the long-term testing phase for those.
But out here, just in a nutshell, folks, if you are able to make biocomplete compost, not just at the minimum standards of biocomplete compost is 135 micrograms per gram of both bacteria and fungi, and that's just kind of a ballpark area. The stuff we're producing, like I said, 135 is the minimum. We're doing somewhere in the neighborhood of about, depending on the pile, it could be up to 1,000 or 1,500 or more. So it's very, very, very strong compost. And if you're able to do that, I don't know that you necessarily need soil saviors. But if you don't know how to make compost to that extent, or make or have access to really good, and it's got to be local. It can't be stuff that you got from 5 hours away. If you're able to do that and get it done, I don't know that soil saviors is only going to enhance what you have, because there are extremophiles in there.
And that's what sets it apart from like your homemade compost, is that it does have the extremophiles that are, if you do have some contamination, it's just going to eat that stuff away faster, and then they're going to be permanently in the soil. So if it ever gets recontaminated for whatever reason, they'll wake back up and they'll start eating that stuff up again. So yeah, soil saviors is never going to hurt for sure.
See, I've never told anybody this, but what had me really concerned about our initial test results was because they are chemtrail. I mean, you can see my shirt says it all, okay? I wear this thing, like I said, you're either an activist or an inactivist. I was worried that because of, good night, I can't even tell you how many videos I did. All the days they were just absolutely blanketing the sky, and I was concerned, like, what is all that barium, aluminum, strontium, all these other things, what are they gonna do while we're over here trying? And I was thinking, man, I don't know if we're gonna have positive results. And what blew my mind is that there was no evidence. So the organism, a lot of what Dr. Will and Pat Militich have in that product, they're facultative.
Yeah.
And so you want to explain what that means?
Facultative is that in-between stage between aerobic and anaerobic. So they can kind of operate in both conditions, but they really thrive. So below 4 parts per million of oxygen in the soil is anaerobic. Above 6 parts per million of oxygen in the soil is aerobic. And that in-between stage of 4 to 6 is that facultative stage.
Right. And he's got a lot of facultative organisms in there. And I wasn't really giving them the best start in the world, because I don't want to take facultative organisms and put them entirely into an environment where they are completely aerobic.
Right.
So it's better to take that stuff if you're going to do it. I've had great, by mixing the two. But in an ideal world, I would go out here, put down the soil saviors in and of it by itself, and then take out my aerobic organisms and put them out by themselves. Not the best idea in the world to mix them, but I know that now, and that's part of what you do. So, but even still, when he came out here and did the testing, and there was no evidence of any of the radiation that was initially out here that our lab scientists, confirmed. When I realized, oh my goodness, man, this is crazy. And then it made me understand why so many interests out there. I've talked about this in the podcast, which, by the way, y'all, it's the Permaculture Pimpcast if you want to know about it. I've talked about it in the podcast that one time in my life I've ever been bribed, and that was these shady people that came out of nowhere.
Tried to bribe.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out. Tried to bribe me, and with what they called, and I quote, life-changing money, if I would come work to them and sign a non-disclosure.
Yeah.
I said no. And thank God I did, and I'm not a person that's driven by money. My grandbaby's playing out here, so I want something that's clean. There ain't no amount of money you got that's ever gonna make me compromise that, or even your children for that matter.
Yeah.
So anyway, when I knew there was kids out here planning this thing, I'm like, okay, these have got to be some shady people. And so we put the hounds on these folks to find out exactly who they were. But the point being is that now I knew why they wanted to shut us up for the longest time, and why I wanted to make sure all the ducks were in a row before we said we had a solution out here. And we do. So whether you're a person that's using your biocomplete compost, if you're able to make it, and if you don't have those means, well, soil saviors is definitely a solution.
It's the only store-bought replacement that I would recommend to anybody.
And you ain't gonna buy it in any store, so.
No. It's the only alternative to making your own compost if you're unable to make your own compost.
Right, and if you can combine the two, because we've taken a high tunnel that was completely polluted, and we had a control, we had soil saviors for a number of boxes, we had our compost for a number of boxes, but the area that blew up the most is where we combined the two. So we did all the tests to find out whether or not it'll work. But folks, back to my project out here, the ideal plan is gonna be and this is exactly what I wanted to do down there and what they agreed to until the it got changed on me. But hey, when you don't own the property, you kind of got to do what they tell you. So anyway, the idea is in this particular area, it goes considerably much further than that bus you see in the background there. So the idea is 4 rows of trees done in the permaculture orchard style. Another hat tip to my man Stefan Subkowiak out there. 4 rows. In between those rows, we're going to have sheep going in and out, all the way to, and then behind the sheep, about 3 to 4 days behind, are going to be chickens or ducks or whatever we decide out here. And I'm going to farm that part out. So any intrepid up and coming farmer that's saying, hey, I don't have land to work, well, you're going to have it out here if you do it, if you can follow directions. If you think you're just going to come out here and buy a bunch of store-bought feed and then just leave these animals out here, you're going to be on the first thing smoking. So there will come a time when I'm reaching out to people. Look, if you're willing to do it in accordance to what I tell you to do, I'm not trying to be a jerk here, folks, but I can't tell you how many people say, yeah, we'll do it, and then you go out here and mess it all up. If you can't follow directions, you're not the person I want to work with.
So this is kind of like an apprenticeship that you're offering.
Absolutely.
To steward this property after you get it squared away.
And that's exactly what it has to be. It has to be stewarding the property. You're going to be able to grow some sheep out here. They're going to do all the mowing out here. The problem we keep coming across with so many designs and things that we do is that people cut this grass entirely too short. I mean, this grass this time of year should be about 1 foot high, but it's not. It isn't. Mm-hmm. So check out the work of Jim Garris, Greg Judy, Joel Salatin, and a whole host of others.
Any of them.
Yeah.
Any of them will say this is too short.
It's way too short. So your Kentucky farm, when we have full sun out here, when it's not being chemtrailed, you know, we're seeing things like, we'll come down over here and find out what the results are when you mow too low, is that you come across with patches like you got right here, where you got bare soil. When I see that, it's an open indication that you are, you don't have the best management practices. So we can get to the other side of this as long as people are willing to do it. But anyway, imagine 4 rows of trees, nitrogen, apple, pear, all 7 layers going this way, all the way down through here. And then we run our animals inside. So what are the animals doing? They're getting the benefit of the shade trees. And also every time we prune those trees, they're going over to being, you know, going to be feed for the animals, because we're going to have a fair amount of nitrogen fixers in here as well. And then, so the shade is provided to the sheep out here. And that's, we're not going to run cows, obviously, not big enough for that. Shade will be provided to the sheep, but also the sheep are providing their fertility. Not only are they keeping the grass in check as long as we manage it properly, but they're also leaving the nutritional element for the soil behind, which is going to be their excrement, their urine, all those wonderful things. Everything that goes inside of a ruminant and comes back out is improved. So they're going to be running in and out of here, probably 2 sheep at first, until everybody else in the neighborhood finds out what we're doing. They're going to say, like what happened down there, they're going to be like, hey, Billy, can you come hook us up? Can you hook us up? So the idea is to turn this into a permaculture orchard with sheep, ducks or chickens, maybe turkeys, who even knows? I mean, it all depends on how the owners want to proceed with it. That's exactly what we're going to do out here, and we're going to do it even better than we did before, because we're going to do it. Look, I'm not answering to anybody. The people have given me complete leave to do what I want. Complete leave. They do request that that little area down there, that we keep that shade, but we can graze it. There's so many wonderful things we can do out here. Right now they have a tenant. Tenant won't be there for long. And then it's full steam ahead on this thing. So from all the money that you folks have donated, and if you're still willing to donate, you can still find us on Give, Send, Go. That's called the Living Soil or Living Soil Foundation. If you still want to donate, trust me, 100%, not 99, not 98, not whatever, 100% of everything you donate is going right out here. I'm donating my time if you're donating the money. And of course, we've also put a fair amount of our own money into it as well. And then this is going to be basically a demonstration area for anybody. And that's, the people are absolutely jazzed up about it, the ones that own this property. It is going to be a demonstration area for anybody that wants to replicate what we're doing out here. No matter where you are, come here, see how it's done. The only thing I wish we could do that I don't want to do is going to be to put in swales. We could, but I'm not going to do it, because whenever this river jumps the banks, the swales are going to be holding the nonsense that's still in this river. It's still not wonderful. Okay, it's still, I mean, not even close.
But also, you live in a temperate rainforest where swales aren't absolutely necessary.
No.
Like, what they would mostly be doing here is just directing water.
Well,
You guys get a ton of water every year.
yeah, the only thing I wanted the swales for was demonstration.
Yeah.
Was that, you know, just maybe one of them in the swale. But it's not at all necessary here. I just wanted to do it as part of the demonstration site for the people that don't know what they should look like.
Yeah.
So that's it. I mean, here it is. You got the river. It's up right now. It's still not at all close to wonderful. But hey, we're moving the needle one bit at a time. And this is going to be a demonstration site. The people that want to replicate what we're doing, no matter where you are, you'll be able to take away whatever we got going here. Folks, I couldn't be more excited. And the cool thing is, my son, who is a permaculture designer, consultant, he is doing the consultation on this, because even though I know exactly what I think I want, it's always important, of profound value really, to have somebody else with fresh eyes that can look at this thing and say, you know, it's good, it's bad, it's whatever. I mean, son, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, no matter where you are.
Yeah, I would always get a second set of eyes. Even if you're not hiring somebody to do it, I would always get a second set of eyes.
Absolutely.
Just to make sure, like, you're not overlooking anything, or maybe that person has experienced something that you're about to, like, they've experienced something that, you know, they fell for maybe, and they can help you avoid falling for the same thing that they did.
Or somebody with a dispassionate eye that can look at this thing and straighten you out, because you just may be too emotional about it. I mean, all of us are exactly the same way. It's why physicians are not supposed to treat their own family. You know, it's the same thing when it comes to your land or something. You need somebody that can come in with a dispassionate eye, look at it and say, I don't know if you ought to do it this way.
Right.
So, folks, excited to get hopping and popping on this. So stay tuned. This is our next one, and we are going to knock it out of the park. And hopefully it'll be at a place where, you know, where we can have classes out here, show you how we did, or what we do. All right, y'all, thank you so much for your support. Remember, check out William over at the Permaculture Consultant on YouTube, and check us out here if you want to check out the Permaculture Pimpcast. Remember, we can't do it on this channel anymore because the powers that shouldn't be over here on YouTube are doing a really good job of giving me a strike. I can get on that channel, going live, doing that podcast and sing Mary Had a Little Lamb. So you either got to check us out on the podcast channel that we have on YouTube, the one on Rumble, or on William's channel. They seem to leave those alone. But if it's right here, not so good.
Or the audio platform.
Yeah,
you can always find it on Spotify, any podcast player you have. You can find the Pimpcast on it.
That's right. You can check it out when you're out here doing your stuff. All right, y'all. Until next time, stay alert.
Stay alive.